What's up, YouTube? Today we are watching 20 athletes getting caught cheating live. So if you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe. I said that right. And we're watching this live on twitch.tv/Klauza. It's linked down below, so come through, watch the stream. We're streaming every single day. But now, let's get into the video.
Number 20, Rosie Ruiz. Back in 1980, Rosie Ruiz competed in the 84th edition of the Boston Marathon and won it in quite an impressive fashion. Despite being an unknown prior to that point, the Cuban-American crossed the finish line with a total race time of 2 hours, 31 minutes, and 56 seconds. The fastest female time in Boston Marathon history, and the third fastest female time ever recorded in any marathon anywhere.
So you improved from 2 hours.
How's she cheat running?
And in just 8 days, the jig was up. Several race observers confirmed that they had seen her join the race from the sidelines, less than a mile from the finish. Some witnesses also confirmed that they had seen her riding the subway during the New York Marathon a few months before.
Like, I know it's the 80s, but like, why would you think that would work? Someone's gonna see you cutting to the end. I mean, I guess it worked for 8 days. Never mind. You know what? She's right.
Rosie denied all of the allegations, but the evidence was simply too much, and she was eventually stripped of her record and her marathon win. The Spanish Paralympic basketball team. Imagine trying to cheat disabled people just because you're looking for the glory. While many of us would never stoop this low, the Paralympic team from Spain had no problems doing so. While competing at the 2000 Sydney Paralympics, the Spanish learning disabled basketball team appeared to be steamrolling through their opponents.
Stop. If they're faking being disabled just to win a ring, I couldn't know. That's crazy.
The Russian team to win the gold, they were hailed as heroes. But sadly, their win would be short-lived after it had been discovered that 10 out of the 12 players on the team were absolutely healthy and not learning disabled at all.
Imagine you're not learning disabled, but you're playing on a team just to get a ring. Bro, I'd feel so bad for the two kids that actually were disabled and like they didn't get nothing. That's crazy.
Speaking on the scandal, one of the team's players would say that the Spanish team had simply taken advantage of the lax rules. The scandal became so intense that the team was found to have even been training around the world for 2 years, facing other learning disabled teams and defeating them. At the end of the day, the president of the Spanish Federation of Sports for the Intellectually Disabled himself was even implicated in the scheme. Talk about being rotten to the core. Will Smith. If you think that Michael Pineda was the only guy who was caught trying to get sticky with a baseball, well, guess again. Pitchers have been using foreign substances to get better grips for quite. He might share a name with the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but this guy definitely didn't have any coolness to him. In a match against the Atlanta Braves, Smith was immediately flagged when everyone from the officials to the Braves players would notice something sticky on his arm.
Like, bro, it's so obvious. Why make it so obvious? Like, put it in your glove or like down your pants. Like, why does it have to be right where people are gonna see that, bro? Like,
Will Smith.
What does it do though? Like, what does that do? Like, actually, like someone in the comments or someone in chat, like, what does that do with the ball? Like, just make it.
It's pretty insane. The guy got a sticky solution that was so visible that opposing players standing 60 feet away could literally see it. Will Smith had claimed that the solution was a mixture of rosin and sunscreen that he had been using to practice. Considering the weakness of his lies, it's no wonder that he was easily caught cheating.
So you could just throw the ball harder or put more spin on it, basically? I guess.
Number 12, Marwin Hitz. They call soccer the beautiful.
It makes the buckle a different direction, easier and better to throw.
Game, but with guys like Marwin Hitz always looking to start up stuff and cause trouble, I think we can fairly challenge that assertion. In 2016, Hitz, who was a goalie for Augsburg FC, pulled a pretty nasty move. While in a match against Köln FC, Hitz was called upon to save a penalty from Köln striker Anthony Modesta.
Of course.
While the refs were setting the modalities of the kick, Hitz went over and dug his studs into the turf close to the spot. As Modesta made his run up to the penalty, he suddenly slipped after he had stepped on the compromised turf. Hitz did apologize for the unsportsmanlike behavior.
Of course he's going to apologize.
Got hit with a €122 fine for repairing the damage that he had caused. While at a competition back in 2015, Nibali was involved in a massive crash that would leave him trailing his competitors early on. However, he would soon get some help from a team car. You see, these cars provide things like towels and water in order to help athletes across the course. However, while Nibali was returning the water bottle to the team car, he held on and did not let go.
What do you mean? No,
maar hij doet het wel. En niet te vergeten, deze mens heeft en de Vuelta, en de Giro, en de Tour gewonnen.
Like, bro! What? Like, you were like...
Dat helpt. Kijk, dat is allemaal uit het wiel. Voilà.
That's crazy.
Either Nibali was just really thirsty, or the team car had transformed into a towing vehicle. Nobody really knows for sure. But what we do know is that Nibali received a free ride, and before long, he was disqualified from the race entirely.
That was common sense.
Number 9, Sal Alosi. When it comes to the
they're
biggest
making so much money too. I don't know why you would
think
do
of
it.
Deflated balls or even doping.
Tom Brady.
But Sal Alosi delivered a truly slimy move back in 2010 that has left him forever in infamy. Back in 2010, he was the strength coach for the New York Jets, and in a game against the Miami Dolphins, the Jets were on defense, and the Dolphins cornerback Nolan Carroll was running a route. As Carroll ran close to Alosi and the Jets bench, Alosi went out of his way to trip him, breaking down the entire play.
Watch the knee here being stuck out on purpose to trip up Nolan Carroll.
Running a route.
No way. He
Carroll
didn't actually
ran
do
close
that.
to Alosi and the Jets bench. Alosi went out of his way to trip him, breaking down the entire play.
Watch the knee here being stuck out on purpose to trip up Nolan Carroll. Not sure who that person is, but they should be ashamed of themselves.
Crazy.
It wasn't only Alosi, though. According to reporters after the game, he had actually ordered inactive Jets players to form a human barricade along the sidelines, and this made it even more difficult for opposing players to pass through that side without getting hit. Alosi was eventually hit with a $25,000 fine and then suspended for the rest of the season without pay. He left the Jets in 2011 and has not worked in the NFL ever since.
Like, is it that
Number
serious?
8, Romano Fenati. When you're a professional athlete, being able to maintain your
That's true. You're making a lot of bread
doing
this. Why cheat,
However,
bro? Like, you're getting paid regardless.
Romano Fenati didn't quite get that lesson early on.
He was a strength trainer.
While competing at the San Marino Moto 2, Fenati was trying to work a turn when a rival racer, Stefano Manzi, overtook him. Enraged at the turn of events, Fenati immediately drove towards Manzi and literally pulled his rival's front brakes. Considering that they were riding at over 130 miles an hour, Fenati's actions could literally have killed Manzi. He was immediately disqualified from the race.
Imagine getting that mad that you pumped the other person's brakes because he's just better than you.
Got his racing license revoked, and his contract with the Marinelli
like, it's
Snipers
so stupid.
team was
like, you're getting paid, bro, and you just...
Things got so severe that the Italian justice system had even considered charging Fenati with attempted murder. And to be fair,
130 miles is crazy.
It was a truly risky move that could have gone way south. Number 7, Olympic badminton players. At the 2012 London Olympics,
badminton's
the
so fun.
competition's organizers had engaged a round-robin first
it's really
for
intense,
badminton.
though. It's a lot of fun.
This meant that all teams would face each other at some
Keep playing
point.
out after we finish
the
this video.
Results of the matches would then be used to make the groupings, ensuring that similarly matched teams would face each other. Some smart teams found that by intentionally throwing some of these earlier matches, they could get grouped in with inferior opponents in the knockout phases. In the women's doubles tournament, the team from China decided to exploit this strategy, but they were not the only ones. Their opponents from South Korea also had the exact same plan. With both teams set on losing on purpose, you can imagine how terrible that the entire game was.
Bro,
it was a mess, and several other countries, which included Indonesia and Malaysia, were also caught trying to do the same thing. They all ended.
The brakes could have made him flip onto his head and kill him. Oh, he could have like flipped the motorcycle at 130 miles an hour. You're done. Like, you're done.
Getting disqualified together. Number 6,
that was stupid.
Brian Carrasco. In 2011, Chilean defender Brian Carrasco found himself in no man's land as his country would face the Ecuadorians in the Under-21 World Cup qualifier. With Ecuador gearing up for a throw-in and up one goal, Carrasco moved behind Ecuadorian striker Edson Montano for a tackle. He knew well that Montano was a much bigger guy than he was, so instead of trying to take him on, he took Montano's hand and literally punched himself in the face with it. The referee immediately called for a replay, and everyone had a huge laugh when they saw that Carrasco had quite literally taken one for the team.
Is it that serious? Like, do people have to win that bad? Like, imagine being so bad at a game that you had to cheat to try to win, then get caught and lose. Like, people are watching you, bro.
The crazy thing was that Carrasco's ploy worked. Chile got a free kick out of it, but they failed to convert it and then went on to lose the match 1-0.
Exactly,
Still,
as you should.
Nick Bryan definitely deserved an Oscar for that performance. Number 5, Shahid Afridi. When you're playing sports, you can easily work up an appetite. Just ask Shahid Afridi. The Pakistani cricketer was the subject of some controversy back in 2010.
Has anyone ever played cricket before?
As his country faced off against Australia in the one-day international. With Australia winning by a wide margin, Afridi turned to desperation as he looked to give his team the advantage.
Okay.
He decided to scuff the ball a bit so that his bowler could have a better grip.
He bite the ball?
The problem, however, was that the guy didn't just press down on the ball or even try a more subtle way of scuffing. He literally chomped down on it.
He's biting the...
immediately drew the umpire's attention.
Bro, what?
Afridi claimed that he was just trying to smell the ball. I mean, smell the ball? With your mouth? And why would you be smelling the ball anyways? Afridi would receive a 2-match ban for ball tampering, and at least he got enough time to fill up on some real food afterwards. Number 4, Patrick Reed.
Cheating
if
in
you're
golf
a golfer,
is crazy.
You probably know that the most difficult shots are the ones that you have to hit at an awkward angle. But instead of testing his skills, Patrick Reed decided to try a cheeky maneuver. Fresh off of his 2018 Masters win,
this is recent.
Reed became the subject of significant controversy at the 2019 Hero World Challenge after his ball became stuck in a sand dune. Reed's solution was to test out different clubs, but cameras soon caught him deliberately trying to move some sand away from underneath of his ball.
He definitely took some sand back behind it. Now you can ground the club there. He not only did
that was cheeky. That was cheeky. That was good.
But once he did it twice.
Grounding the club alone in golf is against the rules, let alone shifting mounds of sand away from the ball.
That was
Reed
good.
was immediately caught and given a 2-stroke penalty, and even worse, his shot didn't even work. The ball just rolled over and moved off the green. Karma, you strike once again. Number 3, Valentino Rossi. In the world of MotoGP, I don't think that we've ever seen a rivalry quite like the one between Marc Marquez and Valentino Rossi. These motorcycle gods fought for supremacy in the sport for several years, battling it out at every chance they got. However, this rivalry reached a boiling point at the 2015 Malaysian Grand Prix. Marquez had been looking to overtake Rossi on a corner in the 13th lap, and the two drivers came within inches of each other. Despite being poised to take the position, Marquez suddenly dipped and crashed, moving entirely off the track. Marquez got up without any injury, but immediately had claimed that Rossi had purposefully kicked him off. And a replay sure seemed to back that up.
He absolutely mugs Rossi on the outside. Rossi looks really close.
Rossi, who was already a 9-time world champion, would be given a 3-point penalty.
Bro, like, you won 9 times. Why are you cheating, bro? Like, you won 9 times. Like, you're good. Like, I just don't get it.
Meaning that he'd have to start the next race at the back of the grid. Number 2, Mike Tyson.
Mike
Tyson was one of the most fearsome boxers in the world. And in his prime, the guy was the baddest man on the planet, knocking out opponents in the first round and making people tremble at his mere presence. But Iron Mike, as he was called, also had a bit of an anger problem
bite
as
ears?
his career would go on. And in 1997, while fighting the new kid on the block, Evander Holyfield, Mike would let his temper get the better of him and then bit his opponent's ear.
At that bite. Now here's the bite. Keep your eye on Mike. See, Mike has just... See, look at him. You can see it. You can see it. There it is.
I've never seen this before. I thought he like bit a girl's ear like when they were like getting like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know it was like live.
Things would go even more heated when
he
Mike
bite it off?
Shove Evander after the latter had made a fuss about being bitten. The replay immediately flagged Mike for biting Evander, and
did he bite it off?
A 1-point deduction. The match was eventually stopped after things became too heated, and after the fight, Mike's boxing license would be revoked for a year, and he had to pay a $3 million fine.
$3 million? Fun fact, Mike would engage in sexy time before fights to fight out, let off anger. Stop. He'd be like, nah, man, chill. Stop, that's cap. He said he was sorry.
Mike and Evander Holyfield did become friends later in life.
Yeah, they got his ear.
I guess there is a silver lining.
No, he still got his ear. Okay.
Number 1, Diego Maradona.
Who?
Diego Maradona was, and perhaps still is, one of the best soccer players to ever touch the pitch. With the likes of men like Pele and Messi, Maradona is easily on soccer's Mount Rushmore. But while players like Pele and Messi tend to have a bit of a clear-cut image, Maradona was definitely not the goody two-shoes.
Y'all know who this
is? From drug
is?
scandals to wild parties, he was untamable, and in many cases also let his penchant for crazy antics get on the field as well. The most infamous event for Maradona came in the 1986 World Cup,
as the 80s.
Argentina would face off against England in a match to determine who would go through to the semis. Despite being scoreless in the first half, the match soon came to life in the second, when Maradona skipped past multiple English players and then headed into the English box. A loose ball came off a defender, and Maradona quickly rose to meet it.
Yeah, this looks fine so far.
But the diminutive Argentine maestro fell just short of the ball. Improvising in a second, he decided to raise his hand.
Nah, that's really smart though. Like, it's really, I could barely see it.
Close to his head, and use it to guide the ball into the English goalpost.
Scoring with what
that was good.
Called the hand of God.
That was like, that would be hard. That was smart. And it's the 80s. You can't see nothing.
Everyone knew what had happened. Maradona had literally handled the ball into the net, but because the refs and linesmen couldn't see it, they allowed it.
Nah.
To date, that incident, which has come to be known as the Hand of God, remains the most infamous goal in World Cup history.
That's good, though.
And considering that Argentina went on to win the World Cup that year, it was quite the doozy.
So if you don't get caught, I feel like it's kind of tough. But like if you get caught, like it's not worth it. But like that, it's the 80s, bro. Like you couldn't do it. Like the cameras were pixelated, bro. You can't see nothing back then. Excuse me. Nowadays, bro, they see everything, bro. I don't know. That's the video though. So subscribe.